telling everybody else what to do. I need to.
Okay, we'll call the meeting to order. Welcome everybody here tonight, the ones of us that here in the council chambers and the ones that are joining us on Zoom. We appreciate your being with us this morning and welcome everyone. At this time, I'm going to call on Councilman High, if you will, he is requested to be excused from the voting on the two matters pertaining to the two public hearings that we have this afternoon.
And that's correct, your Mayor, and thank you very much. As I've stated before, the town attorney, Ms. Knight, and I have agreed that I have a conflict in voting on any matters related to the CDS project. The proper procedure is for me to request a recusal, a motion, a second, and a vote for the same, and I would just request that my fellow councilman take care of that for me. I'll step aside until we move on to other items.
I move that we
We have a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any further discussion on it? Motion carried.
Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, so as I stated, we do have two public hearings tonight, and both of them are conduit with the CDS project that we're in the process of. We do have a couple of guests with us from the developer tonight. We have Trey Hart and Jordan Rule. Welcome, guys, to be with us tonight. Do y'all have anything that you want to add to that, or?
Mayor, if you want me to
Yes.
remind everybody of the purpose. So tonight, the council is scheduled to conduct two public hearings. And the first public hearing is on the council's intentions to close a portion of the alley and the paper street, which is referred to on the maps as Hughes Street. It's not Hughes Street in Morgan Park, but it was Hughes Street that was never built along the old railroad right-of-way. And so we have done all of the required advertising, and tonight you will conduct the public hearing, hear comments, but you know that because we're under the state of emergency due to COVID and we have limited spacing for the public in here as well as in the overflow room, under the state statutes and under the policies that you have adopted, you are not permitted to take action on any item that is required from a public hearing until at least 24 hours after the public hearing. And that is to give anybody from the public who may be Zooming or listening in the opportunity to submit written comments. And so anybody who's listening, who wants to make a comment, who's not present in the council chambers, they can do so by emailing or delivering by hand written comments to me tomorrow up until 5 o'clock. And then it's presumed that the council will vote at the end of this special meeting to recess the meeting so that then tomorrow evening you can reconvene and consider adopting the resolution.
Okay. All right, do we have anyone in the other room that's
Yes.
wants to speak on it?
Yes,
Okay.
at least one person. Excuse me.
So we just come in tomorrow afternoon just to vote on this resolution and get out of here.
That's the one spot.
So I think I can make a short.
All right, if you will, please state your name and your address, please.
Sure. My name is Larry McLaughlin. I live at 118 Butternut Lane. Just a few observations, personal observations to share with you. It'll help you make your decision. I believe you all have decided to leave Baton Road open and considering maybe changing this direction. just looking at the map, just a brief observation that struck me was that when you do that, the lot that it encroaches on is now diminished. And it would seem to me that however many feet it's moved is not going to change automobile drivers. It's not going to be any more convenient or deleterious. I don't think it's still going to be bad. I would suggest just leaving it the way it is, and the lot then that's proposed to be encroached on will be a bigger piece of property. Just looking at the map, that's what struck me. So, am I on track with that?
Mayor, is it okay to ask
Sure.
Trey or Jordan, who are Zooming with us? Trey is representing the developer and Jordan is the engineer, but I believe that the reason for the realignment has to do with additional land that is necessary to support the stormwater control system. But we'll ask Jordan or Trey to respond to you,
Okay, right
to your
now?
question. Sure, there he is.
Hey guys, sorry I couldn't be there tonight. Appreciate you having me on. Yeah, that's accurate. Basically, we're just realigning the road, one, in order to accommodate the required parking on site, and then also for the stormwater requirements, as Anne Marie mentioned.
When the road is realigned, how does that line up with the entrance to Walgreens across the street? Is it directly across, or is it skewed one way or the other?
It is not directly across, but it is about as close as you can without creating a detriment to the existing house that is on that property.
Right. Well, anyway, I think it's going to be a terrible traffic situation. That's my overall observation, and thanks.
Larry, you used the word encroachment. I don't think you can use the word encroachment when you own the property. And they own the property.
Do they own that, the Martin House?
That, they have it under contract and they will purchase it as part of this project, because they need that land to make the realignment work.
Okay, Dan, have they mentioned any development of that property and how that would be in the totality of that development? What's the overall plan? Because we're going to
We have agreed.
creating
Hi,
traffic
this
problems.
is Trey Hart. I'm with the developer. We have agreed at the request of the town council to leave that structure alone. So that house will remain.
Okay, all right. Well, thank you.
And you got that in writing? You said it?
They've agreed to it.
Yeah.
Mayor, I'm gonna run and check and see if
Okay.
there's one other person who may or may not want to speak.
Can I ask a question? Mayor, I was just about to say, but didn't we talk about seeing if we could have them donate that house?
Yeah, we talked about that.
You're still working on it?
No, I mean, that'd be a great idea, but I'd like to make sure if they are planning on doing it, they put something in the deed that it'll be preserved.
Do you have any idea what they'll use it as?
I don't think they have any idea.
So there's nobody else that
There's nobody
wishes
else.
to speak.
All right, does anybody else have anything to add to what we've talked about, or?
Could I ask one quick question?
Absolutely.
So I just have a quick question about, there's a great big tree right on the side of Baton Road. It's a big old cedar tree. Is that coming down?
The cedar tree.
It's right sort of to the right towards the hospital. And I think. Is that,
That would be in the footprint of the new Baton Road, and so it will need to come down.
okay, all right. So it's not really going over much then, because that's not very far from, I mean, you made it sound like it was going more across that little field, but it's only sliding across a few feet, right?
Question.
Right, it's basically shifting, the entire width of the road is going to shift to the west. So
Okay.
it's about, and we're actually widening the road some as
Okay.
well.
All right.
Sam, I
So,
know, I know the tree committee tried to save as many trees.
Yeah, but I mean, that's fine. I mean,
What about that, is the historic marker at the intersection there of Adam and Virginia, would that be affected?
It's the Batham Road, it's the Batham Post Road historical marker. It's right there at the entrance to Batham Road.
I do know the sign that you're talking about, and I do not have that right offhand. I will have to look and verify if that is, and if it isn't, we could have it relocated a few feet one way or another in order to avoid the new alignment of the road.
And can we put something about saving that house in the deed? You didn't say
Right,
that.
I think that- Could you reply on that one?
I will need to check with Marshall, who's the developer of the project, and check with our attorney as well. But I know that we have agreed to leave that house as it is.
Okay.
So we will.
Yeah.
We
So
have
if
every
we get
intention of
that,
doing
if we get that in the deed, then that'd be great, because I think the neighborhood would feel really good about that. Yeah. And we have lots of donation possibilities if y'all just want to donate it.
Okay, does anyone else have any comments pertaining to this particular, public hearing? If not, I'll declare the public hearing closed, and we'll open up the second public hearing, which has to do with the, resolution authorizing exchange of property, again, for the CVS project. And I'll ask Ms. Knighton if she will to.
Sure. And this resolution would allow the town to exchange the portion of the existing Batham Road, that we would be giving that to the developer, and then in exchange, the developer will give us the newly aligned, improved Batham Road. And so again, everything's been advertised, and you've seen in your packets, and Tammy, do you mind bringing up, we did do a little, I should have brought this up earlier, but we did a little rendering just to illustrate the exchange for you, and it, yes. So that's a great photo. So the yellow highlight was the alleyway that you've agreed to close. The lime green is the existing Batham Road, and then the pretty pink is the newly created to be realigned Batham Road. And so hopefully you'll agree at the end of this meeting again to recess the meeting, and then tomorrow night you would formally approve the resolution that would authorize this exchange.
Okay, does anyone have any comments on this? I'll declare the public hearing open at this time, and is there anyone else over there that wants to speak on this?
So tomorrow should be a quick meeting.
5 minutes.
That means I can come as I is, right?
That's
Yeah.
right.
Emery's working this.
I'm not gonna put on a suit tomorrow night. Maybe
make sure that it's online for the public to see, so.
Okay. All right. So no one over there to speak. So does anyone else up here have anything to say, pro or con, or?
I do,
Okay.
yeah, I just can't seem to shut up tonight. So I think it actually makes it better, I think it'll be better for Broad Street. I think this improves traffic. I mean, I think that's all good. And I wonder if we can put a condition on this, that they do put a deed restriction to save the old house. So that way that neighborhood will know it, because you've taken a lot and cut it, and they've already agreed, he said they had agreed to save it. So we just put a condition on this, that they give us a deed restriction not to tear down the house.
Actually, I thought we agreed on that at the last meeting.
I don't know whether it actually got into,
I don't
You
know
know.
that it officially was in the,
Yeah. I mean, they obviously know about
Conditional.
it, so,
But they did agree
Permit.
to it.
yeah, so,
Do you need a motion on that?
You can't do that
we can't do
tonight.
that. Well, can we just add that, is that possible?
We can certainly, ask Hood if that is possible with this resolution.
Okay,
But
all right.
it seems,
Gotcha.
Roger,
You can handle that way.
Is that the house, the big house, the
Mark
bushes all
House.
around it,
Yeah, that's right.
for sale, ain't it?
Well, I think that they bought it,
What they bought?
yeah.
That's the property behind it too, right? It's not just the
It's,
house.
we talked about that last, it's where the guy that did Morris Circle, Mr.
Right.
Morris, built by Frank moved. It's a really, historic house. So I think he's probably eligible to be put on the National Register.
That's where Martin Barkow's,
Yeah, Morris Circle,
Yeah,
or lived.
he had used to have a garden on that property when we
Yeah.
were talking about moving
yeah.
down the road to.
Was that his dad?
That was his
Yeah.
dad. Yeah. That old beef farm all tractor.
Yeah.
Any other comments?
I'm just glad we're saving it. It's great.
Mm-hmm.
All right, if there are no further comments, I'll declare the public hearing closed. And the next item on there is a small capital project fund ordinance for the trolley, and I'll call on Ms. Knight if she will to take care of that. And Councilman Hine, you're back on board.
Thank you, Mayor.
and Mayor, do you want to thank Jordan and Trey? I think they dropped off, so we'll probably see them tomorrow night.
Okay.
So, Mayor, the next.
Thank you, Anne Marie. Thank you, Mr. Gray.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, everyone.
The next item on your special meeting agenda is a small capital project fund ordinance that the finance officer prepared. You know, at your last meeting, you authorized us to enter into an agreement with BB&T or Truist Bank for a 7-year loan to purchase a gently used 2012 trolley to replace our heavily used 1993 trolley.
Where we can't get parts for anymore.
That's right. And it looks like the closing on that loan will take place the first week in November. And so Virginia wanted to make sure that we had the budget ordinance in place. And so this sets up a small capital projects ordinance and documents that you'll be receiving the revenue in from a loan, and then you'll be expending it out for the purchase of the trolley.
Okay. All right. We need a motion on that.
So, second.
Have a motion and a second. All those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Any discussion?
I just think they did a great job getting a new trolley. I mean, I think,
It will certainly.
staff and everybody needs to be
It looks
commended for
good.
that, because it
Yeah.
looks good, it's gonna
A
be
lot of wood
great.
and brass and.
Yeah.
It looks like the same amount of seating. I know it's a little bit less, but it looks.
And then, Emery, you found an old trolley graveyard yet?
No, we're still mulling ideas for what to do with the old trolley.
Not a stationary food court, right?
They've been saying for years that they couldn't get parts for it, so, yeah, I think it's a good move, absolutely. All those in favor of the bill?
Yeah, we did that.
We did that. Okay, moving on. All right, now we need a motion to recess the meeting until 6 o'clock tomorrow night here in council chambers.
Well,
Second.
excuse me, Mayor, we had one more item, and it does pertain to the trolley, so I understand why you may have skipped over it, but we're asking the council to adopt this resolution, which we do when we have projects where we've had to expend town funds prior to receiving the proceeds of the loan or the debt, from the loan, or the proceeds from the loan, not the debt. And, we had to send a $5,000 deposit that will be, applied towards the purchase price for the trolley. But we want to make sure that the bank will be okay with reimbursing the town from that loan, the $5,000, and then the balance will go to the, company that we're purchasing the trolley.
We need a motion on that.
So moved, Mayor, so moved.
We have a motion, we have a second.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Any idea when we might, we might see the trolley, new trolley, is that?
We're hoping to do the closing the first week in November, and then it takes a while to get the tags and the title and to have it delivered, so we're hoping sometime in November.
Great.
Does it come on a truck or do they drive it? Because it's great big.
I'm not sure how they're gonna deliver it to us, but I'll find out for you. I'd rather it on a truck.
I'm gonna go get it.
I'd like to see that.
So the exterior is more like a red, white, and blue exterior, and
The, exterior is red and blue, and you know, we're talking about possibly changing the exterior.
okay.
We're not sure yet, but.
You mentioned a wrap, getting a wrap made for it.
That's for the, minibus, the landfill minibus. That is in really good shape, but it just says landfill minibus on it, and it's not
Oh, I
all
thought
that
you were talking
conducive
about
when we're.
that. I'm sorry, I'm way off base. Okay,
How much is it gonna cost to get the city, name on it and?
They're working on a proposal, with the different vendors that do that. I don't have an idea yet, but we'll probably have to come back and do a budget for that, because we did a budget for it.
As far as you know, it still has the bell like our current trolley does, a bell.
You know, I
That
didn't
means a
ask
lot
about
to
the
you.
bell. I
Yeah.
was asking about the PA system, and anyway,
Okay.
we're gonna try to, we'll harvest as much
Okay.
as we can out of
Just trying to give it a special effect.
Yes, yes.
okay, that takes care of all that business, I think. All right, so now we'll move on to our committee meetings, and our first one is the administrative committee, chaired by Councilman Hyde.
Thank you, Mayor Stallings. The first item we need to discuss tonight is a proposal for professional services, which is from Dale Holland and his company, Holland Consulting Planners. Recently, the North Carolina legislature made a number of technical changes to the statutes of North Carolina that relate to planning and land use for municipalities. And they set a deadline of July 1st of 2021 that the municipalities need to have their plans updated. The law represents a number of highly technical changes that we cannot do on our own. Anne Marie has solicited a proposal from Mr. Holland. Many of you know him. He's well known in this area and has a particular expertise in unified development ordinances and anything to do with land use planning. He has provided a proposal that was in your packet. It includes a brief outline of the scope of his services, and I believe the proposal is set up to have a not to exceed number of $20,000. We would need to give a recommendation to full council at our next meeting, and we'll need at that meeting to ask Virginia to present us a budget amendment if it is our consensus that we need to move forward with that. It's certainly something that's going to be required, so we don't have a choice, and it's something that we don't have the technical expertise, as much expertise as we do have, to handle it on our own. So I don't know if any other committee members have any comments or any objections, but it seems like the right thing to do would be to move it forward to full council with the recommendation that we accept this proposal.
And I'm so happy, Mr. Holland is working with us.
Yeah, do any of the other non-committee members have any questions or comments on it?
We have a couple of questions. Just
Mhm.
that, I didn't know if this is something that has to go out to bids. I mean, that's $20,000, that's a lot. did we put those out for bids, or was there a reason?
Mr. Holland did the last update for us, so
Okay.
he's familiar with the UDO. There are other firms, I imagine, that are, that we could solicit a proposal
Yeah.
from. The thing that, is appealing about Mr. Holland is he's, gonna help us hopefully with North Edenton, look at the grants. So having him working on this, coming up and presenting to you, we can grab him for other, expertise, other advice.
I just never were
And-
required to
Yeah.
ask for bids.
For-
I can't
professional-
recall if for professional
Professional
services.
services,
Okay.
if it's over, like, I think it's over, like, $100,000, I think we're
Okay.
required by law. I'll get the
Right.
exact.
I don't think it's over the
Threshold.
threshold, but maybe if we can get that from Mr. Ellis
Sure.
just to satisfy
Yeah.
that concern, that would probably be a good way to handle it.
And I think he's a good, I mean, he's great, because look what he did with the, the redevelopment. So
Fantastic.
I think he knows us.
He knows his business.
We won an award because of him.
He knows our UDO.
Yeah.
He knows all of
And
that.
he also complimented us last time he was here, the progress we've made since last being
And I don't mean to question,
here.
Mr. Holland, it's just a question that procedure to make sure. One other question, did any of the legislation change, any of our policies on Airbnbs?
Not yet, no. But, Elizabeth and I met with Hood Ellis, the town attorney, last week to talk about whether or not we can move forward, because the city of Wilmington, their Airbnb or short-term rental ordinance was struck down by a Superior Court judge, and it's going to, the Court of Appeals. But we'll update you on that, but, yeah.
Anything else on that agenda item? The next agenda item is an update on the slowing the spread of COVID-19 in Edenton and Chowan County. Many of our residents had reached out to the town and wanted to know what else we could do additional to try to help slow the spread. Mayor Stallings and Anne Marie felt it would be important to let the citizens know what we had been doing and will continue to do. Over the last 10 days or so, Mayor Stallings and Anne Marie have met together numerous times, and in addition to that, they have also met with the Chowan County leadership team about the very issue. The county leadership and the town leadership thought it would be a good idea to set up a meeting with the regional health director, Battle Vets, and also Vidant's CEO, Brian Harville, to get more data from them and talk about any information that we need to do a better job, and also to communicate that to our citizens. In addition to those meetings, Mayor Stallings and County Board Chairman Patty Kersey have participated in a Zoom call with Dr. Cohen, who is Governor Cooper's main consultant and advisor as it relates to COVID. It seems to be, based on their data, that social gatherings, church services, funerals, and weddings seem to be a source of the outbreaks, and we'll try to communicate that to our citizens. Also, one way that the town has sought to get better information from the state currently, or at least up until recently, they've given the number of cases total for a county whenever they occurred, and we have asked that we get more real-time data, and the state is actually making some changes to the way they report the COVID case counts, so that we have kind of a real-time running total of what our case count has been the last 24 hours, the last 7 hours, and 7 days, and the last 14 days, and that would give us a better picture of what's been going on real time and most recently, as opposed to what may have happened a month or so ago, or even way back in the spring. So that's a positive change that's going to help us monitor trends a little quicker. We'll certainly update the citizens in any way we can once we have more information from the meeting with Brian Harville and also Battle Vets, and hopefully we'll have another update at our November meeting. Ms. Knight, is there anything, did I cover everything that you wanted to cover?
You did terrific. I did just want to report that today, every day we go on the state website at right around noontime and look at the numbers to see. And as Councilman High said, having the metrics to show cases over the last 24 hours, over the last 7 days and 14 days is much, much appreciated and really helpful. But there were 22 cases that tested positive over the weekend in Showline. That's a lot of cases. So we've got some work to do to make sure that particularly people understand that these clusters are happening in social gatherings. And with the holidays coming up, we're really going to have to make a consistent, strong message for people to stay in their bubble, create a bubble and stay safe.
Can we make sure the public understands what actions we are taking, either through social media or newspaper?
And I was gonna make that comment. Councilman Hyde, I really appreciate you put some work into that and saying all that, but Emery, is there a possibility that we could possibly put much of what he has said on our webpage or Facebook page or whatever?
Sure.
Because, as you know, we have gotten several calls saying we're not doing enough and we're not putting out enough information. But that is very good information that he just put out to us, and thank you for doing that. Yes, sir.
I'm just curious, you said 22 tested positive over the weekend? How many cases do we have that people have tested positive right now in Chewan County?
If you give me a minute, I can, well, was it over the weekend? Is that on the, I think we have that. We have a report as of Friday of how many active cases, and Tammy will bring that up. That was, actually, I think it's in your packet. There were, as of Friday, there were 49 active cases.
49?
49. Which was down dramatically the week before, which I think was one of the reasons the alarm went off at the state level. Wasn't it like 114? It was very high.
But right now,
But people had recovered, and then as of Friday, according to the health department, there were 49. Now, they will always have a footnote saying that that number could be higher. This is what we have been informed of. And then, again, over the weekend, add 22 to that. But
So-
some of those 49 could have recovered.
according to
as well.
the charts, we're at a steady level now, is that,
I could not say that.
Okay.
22 cases over the weekend
I'm talking about, yeah.
is
It's-
not good.
It says
I mean,
524 on the count as of today.
I wish we could get the news, I mean, I was somewhere today and people were getting ready to walk in a business and the people in the business didn't have masks on, they turned around and walked out, they turned around and left. I just wish we could get the businesses to understand this in their best economic.
Especially,
Yeah, it's all-
especially the food line, grocery store, I've noticed that.
Yeah. Well, I was downtown, and I just think it's so important for people, I was in Subway today, nobody had, people working back there two of them didn't have a mask on. So I just think, I don't know how we can remind people gently to wear one.
I went in the dollar store down the street down there, and the dollar store over here. And you find just as many people walking in without masks as you do with masks.
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna really work on with the county, work on some
See,
campaigns to help promote better awareness and remind people.
we've got the signs around town,
You do, thank
we've
you.
got the signs around.
Okay. The next item is our board and commission vacancies and reappointments have basically been put on hold since the spring due to COVID and restrictions on mass gatherings. Anne Marie and I thought it would be a good idea to circle around back to that and just inquire of the committee and also the other members of the council whether we are ready with the overflow room with proper masking and social distancing policies in place, and perhaps even Zoom if we are okay with soliciting applications for those boards and applications for reappointments, and to interview the applicants in whatever manner we see fit. I'm certainly open and probably ready to do that if we can do it with the same safeguards. And the way we've handled our meetings and handled everything that we've done since COVID had its outbreak, I feel confident in our town and Anne Marie and Tammy and everyone, the way they've been doing things, that we can do it safely. So as long as we can do it safely with those best practices in place, I'm fine with the committee making the recommendation that we move forward with those appointments. Again, provided that we have those safeguards in place. Councilman Bond, Miller, y'all okay with that?
Okay, do we have, applications on file, people, have applied to certain
We
boards?
have some applications, but I would recommend that we go ahead and do a re-solicitation.
Absolutely.
And then also, we talked about soliciting the 25 people who submitted
Yeah.
applications to the Human Relations Commission as well.
That's a good thing.
Okay, that concludes the business of the Administrative Committee, Mayor Stallings.
Thank you, Councilman Hyde. You did a very good job, and I appreciate that. I really do. Our next committee meeting is from Public Works Committee, and that's chaired by Councilman Craig Miller.
Mayor, we already have one item on the docket tonight. It's no parking zone at the end of the 200 block of East Albemarle Street. Mayor, the landlord of the Halsey Village residential neighborhood at the very end of East Albemarle Street is requesting a no parking zone stencil in order that the smaller, younger kids in the area can play basketball on a custom lowered basketball court. Currently the designated basketball space is being used by some area residents as an overflow parking lot, which makes it difficult for the young kids to play basketball. Mayor, I'd like to move we forward this request to full council for a vote at our meeting on November 10th.
One question I have, would we envision marking that no parking zone by signs and also something that would outline an appropriate area on the cement
That's
for
a
the
very
kids
good point.
to play?
I would hope they would maybe some diagonal lines, so it's really noticeable it is a no parking area, instead of just putting the word no parking. I think Corey is pretty good at deciding what would go there.
Okay.
And Mayor, if I may say, I want to thank and commend Anne Marie, Elizabeth Bryant, Corey, Police Chief, the building inspector, for all their work in putting that goal up for these kids. They really made a neighborhood improvement happen. And I just can't thank her enough for doing that. And I hope we can look in the future at other neighborhoods and possibly follow suit what we're doing there. I was down there checking it out this past weekend. Nobody was using it because there was a car parked in the space where they couldn't use it. So I hope when they see a truly designated space, the older kids will stay out and let the young kids play out.
Thank you, sir.
Oh, Anne Marie, I can't call her boss lady. Question that was asked of me over the weekend. The Paxson Lane Playground still has a lock on the entrance to the playground and has a sign on it that says COVID is closed. And they were asked the question that, it seems like the other playgrounds have reopened. Is it?
Sorry about that. We'll get that open tomorrow.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Does anyone else have anything? Yes.
Mayor, if you don't mind going back, because you didn't officially recess the
Thought we did.
meeting to tomorrow night.
I thought we did.
You were going to, and then I interrupted you to go back. Yeah.
Okay, we need a motion then to recess the meeting until 6 o'clock tomorrow afternoon.
So moved, Mayor.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Does this mean my fellow councilman, Hackpie will not, it's not necessary for him to be here tomorrow
Not
night?
necessary, not necessary for him to be here.
Since-
As
But
long
if the
as-
rest of us gotta be here, you gotta be here too.
As long as everybody else comes, and we don't need Pat for a quorum, we can excuse Pat tomorrow night.
See, Hank,
I'll probably come just to be on the safe side, and just
just
sit
trying,
back over there
just trying to
again.
help you out.
Yeah.
We don't have to wear a suit and tie all night, right?
Correct.
Okay,
Sweet.
meeting adjourned.
Thank you all.
Thank you all.
Yeah.
That was good.
Yeah, nice meeting.